At first, me and my mom were struggling. I was trying to pay the bills and trying to take care of my mom at the same time. When I first heard that I can get paid for taking care of my mom, I was kind of skeptical because I had been doing it for so many years without pay. That's when I reached out to Passion to Care. I read all the reviews and I saw that they were number one in the field. Passion to Care has really, really changed my life. Right now, I take care of my mom 24/7 thanks to Passion to Care.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
And welcome to the Horizon League Championship game here at the State Fairgrounds tonight. If you want to go and watch basketball, it's tonight. Milwaukee at 20-14, the number 6 seed taking on Oakland at 22-11, the number 1 seed, 7 o'clock tonight. But before all of that, Officially Human is here talking about officiating and the needs of officials. Brenda Hilton, the founder of Officially Human. Brenda and I have known her now for 5 years, and it's been small and now getting very big.
Yes, it has. And thank you so much for having us tonight. And I think when I talk about our relationship and the relationship with the Horizon League, I think about the camaraderie and everybody's working towards the same goal. And you're doing it with all the programming you're doing, we're doing it. The Horizon League is raising awareness on the shortment and the treatment of officials. And that's what we need. We all need to work together. So thank you for this partnership.
As an ex-official, I know, and it's a very important that if we don't have officials, we can't do games. And now owner of Indiana SRN and operating hundreds of games every night and all the year long, we need those officials and good training involved with them, sustaining the officials. We may get a growth officials, but if they don't stay 3 or 4 years, we're still going to have that problem.
Yeah, and one of the things that when we talk to organizations, we talk to them about you're spending a lot of money on recruitment, but are you spending the same money on retention and treatment? We have to raise awareness, and everybody takes in information differently. So how do we hit each one of those people to take in the information that this is a really serious problem and we all need to work together?
Talk about your partnerships, because there's so many people that wrapped up in this. I know the Horizon League bought into this and they understand that the commissioner has been very adamant to be involved, because I think this is the 3rd or 4th year they have been with you to understand this is a problem not only in maybe Indiana, but across the country.
Yeah, and Commissioner Julie Rolash, she was an early adopter of what we do. She saw the problem, she saw the need, she saw a solution in what we do with Officially Human, and wanted to help be part of the solution. She makes a lot of introductions for us across the country, which we are very thankful for. And when you talk about this event and having people come to this event to network with local officials and learn from some of the experts that we're going to hear from tonight, people should be excited about officiating. It's a great craft.
And you have about 30 guys, 30 officials coming in to listen to some keynote speakers and guys who have done the game, has been involved in the game. I know Bo Borowski is here, good time, long time Big Ten official. From that experience, it has to help that guy with the gleam in the eye. So that's what I want to do in a couple of years.
Yeah, and the other thing that we try to focus on is this: everybody should be doing this for the long game. We're not going to fix this overnight.
Right.
Nobody's going to fix it. But when you hear from people like Bo and some of the other experts we're going to hear from, and the NCAA and what the NCAA is doing to help address this problem nationwide, I think we all can learn something. Everybody in the room will learn something tonight, and hopefully they'll walk away with new contacts.
And if you're an Indiana official watching this, or across the country who's watching this and want to be involved, the official human, how do they contact you? How do they get involved?
Go to officiallyhuman.com and ask for more information, or you can email me at brenda@officiallyhuman.com.
Brenda, thank you for your time.
Thank you very
We're
much.
going to talk to a couple other people. We'll be back after this.
Calling officials cheaters or corrupt, it's not a game.
Insulting referees, it's not a game.
Threatening officials, it's not a game.
Berating young umpires, learning the ropes, it's not a game.
Violent language in the stands, it's not a game.
Verbal abuse from the sideline, it's not a game.
Screaming at a referee in the parking lot, it's not a game.
Welcome back to the State Fairgrounds at the Horizon Championships, the men's championships tonight at 7 o'clock. Bo Borowski joins me now, Big Ten official, and also you are involved with an organization that you started called
RefQuest.
And talk a little bit about that.
So, affectionately called RQ Plus.
RQ Plus.
Most people ask what space we're in. We say officiating services, and then they say, what is that? We just say REAP. We register, educate, and assign and pay officials. Then the logical next question is, how many sports do you handle? And we've got 31 sports on the platform.
Wow.
And we are the vehicle that the people in the know use to teach, train, assign, and pay their officials.
You know, I officiated for many, many years. We didn't have that when I was growing up. You had to do a freshman game and you worked for $17.50. Then you were at a JV game, you made $19.50. And then your first varsity game was $25 a game. It's gone a long way since then. Talk a little bit about the growth.
Well, I'm not sure the pay has increased as much as we'd all hope, but what we've seen is with this generation, even the previous generation of official, there has to be a solution in their pocket. And one of the ways that RQ Plus engages people is to be able to be taught and trained on their handheld. And so everything we do on our platform is mobile first, and we engage them, encapsulate them from a teaching training perspective, all on the handheld device. Doesn't take the place of in-person and the kind of osmosis that takes place through the old school way from a mentorship program. But without a technology solution, I fear that we would fall even further behind.
The one thing about that, Dobo, is when you that young man or young lady that has been developed, you then go and also mentor them, teach them the positions, get them games. I know that the young athlete now, the 18, 19-year-old athlete now wants to become an official.
Right.
We have to maintain that official. And a lot of that is just positive feedback and what to work, because you just really need to work games.
Well, that's exactly right. And what we try to impress upon today's athlete is the shot clock is winding down on your playing career, whether that's high school, college, or in some cases professional.
Right.
And there's a viable option out there for you to stay on the court, stay on the field, stay on the pitch, whatever the case may be. And we try and encourage them to get involved in officiating. Not only does it do some things financially for you, experiences let you go to places you may not otherwise have gone, but it creates an opportunity for a social aspect too. To this day, I'm pushing 50. my great friends today are the people that I've been officiating with for the past 30 years.
And I can contest to that, going from officiating to an AD, and then now into the media aspect of it, and doing 300 games a year with IndianaSRN. That friend that you knew years ago is still involved in the game, and that community is never going to end. Then that's huge.
That's right. You got to have allies. You got to have a support system in
Absolutely.
place. And you know, I look back on my professional life on the court. I wouldn't change a thing about it. But the biggest takeaway is the fact that those people are still my friends today.
Talk a little bit about the website, how they can get a hold of you. You got young people watching right now that's going to be officials or want to be officials. Got coaches that need to learn technique as well. Talk about your website and how they get a hold of you.
Well, refquest.com is the landing spot. You're able to contact us quite simply from there, and we will get you dialed in with a local association, regardless of where you are, what state you're in, and we'll get you involved in the pipeline in any sport. Again, over 30 sports, and there's not one that isn't in need of a broader and deeper pool.
Guy's been a good official, and he lets me call him Bo. That's a good thing. We'll take a time out. When we come back, a lot more.
Sports fans, we cheer on our favorite teams at fields, gyms, arenas, and stadiums. But have you ever wondered what it's like to be a referee? Verbal abuse from fans, parents, and coaches is the #1 reason why many referees are walking away. And they're not being replaced quickly enough by new ones. So put yourself in the official shoes, act with respect, and be officially human.
Calling officials cheaters or corrupt, it's not a game.
Insulting referees, it's not a game.
Threatening officials, it's not a game.
Berating young umpires, learning the ropes, it's not a game.
Violent language in the stands, it's not a game.
Verbal abuse from the sideline. It's not a game.
Screaming at a referee in the parking lot, it's not a game.
Sports fans, we pack stadiums, arenas, and local gyms every day. And every sports fan is uniquely human. Seeing each play with your own eyes, triggering your own emotions. And as humans, we won't agree on every call, but we can act with empathy and consideration. So put yourself in the official shoes. Be more than a fan. Be officially human.
Back live at the State Fairgrounds again. Tonight's championship game, Milwaukee 20-14 taking on Oakland 22-11 tonight at 7 o'clock here at State Fairgrounds. Got plenty of tickets available. Should be a pretty good ball game. Ben joins me now.
Hi.
Hey, we talk about your job as an associate commissioner and of the NCAA, working with the officials. How difficult is that job because of the shortage of officials?
You know, it can be a difficult position to work through, but you know, in the collegiate space, we're seeing some decent growth, and we're working on several initiatives. One with Officially Human to grow our officiating body. So we're working to recruit, retain, educate, and train not only the current crop of collegiate officials, but new and incoming officials.
Talk a little bit about the training. Is that a lot of on-hand training? Do they get on the court? Talk a little bit how that training works and how important it is for maybe officials to go to camps to maybe get to that education.
So we utilize a platform. I believe you just spoke with Bo Borowski.
Yeah.
We utilize RefQuest as our education platform, and we really try to get that uniform message across the sport out to every official that registers with the NCAA. From there, for regular season competition, we really rely on conference coordinators and evaluators to really have that same core message, mechanics, rule evaluation, rule interpretation across the board in all of our sports. That's really the method that we want to utilize, is to utilize the RefQuest platform to really kind of push our uniform message.
And it's not only basketball, because everybody thinks we need basketball officials, but we need officials in every sport that is being played right now, because the shortage is really that evident.
Yes, we have. For those who don't know, we have 90 championships at the NCAA, and so officials are an important part in each of those championships. And so, utilizing kind of our core recruitment efforts, we want to try to grab officials to really be part of not only regular season competition. We need officials in our championship. So, really, the effort that we can make with Officially Human and with some of our other partners is to bring in new officials, get them trained, get them ready to officiate the college game, and really kind of humanize them, get them improved treatment.
And the game has changed a lot back in the day when I officiating. The game has changed a lot. You got to be in shape. You got, this could be a career if you really wanted to stay with it for a long, long time. This could be a career, and it could change your life, because you're going to meet so many interesting people along the way of officiating.
Absolutely, it really can be. It can be an avocation. It can be, I don't want to say a side hustle or a hobby, because that kind of minimizes the importance of the role. But it really can be a career, or a very good avocation to stay involved in the sport that you love.
And the cool thing is you can stay healthy,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I mean, you're going to be in good shape, and once in a while, maybe you can run Bo down to the court or something like that.
I hope I can run Bo down. I'll try.
Yeah. We talk about the championship. Indianapolis is a great host. Officially Human is now doing this for the 4th or 5th year. What's the impact that you have seen with the Official Humans partnership?
We've partnered with Officially Human to create some modules and some learning opportunities for our member institutions. It's called Elevating Respect. We're really pushing this curriculum out to the membership to really understand the role and the effort that officials are putting into working their contests, and so that their treatment should really be reflected. So that's one of our partnerships there. And I'm sorry, could you repeat the other part of the question? The impact.
The impact.
So we have an interest form on our NCAA website. Say yes to officiating. We've seen an influx of close to 800 officials noting that they have an interest in becoming a collegiate official. So we are seeing a real impact from not only Say Yes to Officiating, but to Officially Human.
And if it's up there, it's going to trickle down to the high school event as well, because those officials will be interested, and maybe it's a part-time at the NCTA. They can do maybe some high school games. I think that number will help with the high school shortage as well.
Yes, absolutely. One of the things that we do when we receive one of those interest forms, we see if they have a significant amount of experience, or minimal experience, or no experience. And when they have minimal or no experience, we have a great partnership with the National High School Federation. We send their information directly to the High School Federation. They send that out to the state associations so that they can start that conversation and get it into the high school spaces.
Thank you very much for your time. I know you're very busy.
No,
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we got a lot more guests for you.
Sports fans, we cheer on our favorite teams at fields, gyms, arenas, and stadiums. But have you ever wondered what it's like to be a referee? Verbal abuse from fans, parents, and coaches is the #1 reason why many referees are walking away. And they're not being replaced quickly enough by new ones. So put yourself in the official shoes, act with respect, and be officially human.
Calling officials cheaters or corrupt? It's not a game.
Insulting referees. It's not a game.
Threatening officials, it's not a game.
Berating young umpires, learning the ropes, it's not a game.
Violent language in the stands, it's not a game.
Verbal abuse from the sideline. It's not a game.
Screaming at a referee in the parking lot. It's not a game.
Sports fans, we pack stadiums, arenas, and local gyms every day. And every sports fan is uniquely human. Seeing each play with your own eyes, triggering your own emotions. And as humans, we won't agree on every call, but we can act with empathy and consideration. So put yourself in the official shoes. Be more than a fan. Be officially human.
No, actually, you should be in a black and white stripe. Oh, Greg Bradley joins us back, and NFL official, and we talked a little bit off there. How fun can it be just to referee an NFL game?
Oh, it's just a kick. I mean, when I got started, my whole goal was I just wanted to work a high school Friday night because I thought that's the biggest thing I could ever work. And then through the years, I got the opportunity to get the NFL. So, I mean, it's loud, it's exciting.
It's fast.
It's fast, but it's a really fun 3 hours.
Young people out there who are football officials who want to inspire to that, you recommend to do maybe Pee Wee football and grow into that and then see how that develops. How important is getting experience because you don't want to jump right into it.
So the number one thing we always talk about, everybody's experience and plays. You got to get a lot of plays in. So the only way I can get a lot of plays in, for me, it was to start with that Pee Wee League. I worked CYO. I mean, you can work a lot of games. So I'd work 3 or 4 games on a Saturday, a couple games on a Sunday. Plus, I would have the opportunity to work a Wednesday, Thursday, and a Friday at that middle school, junior varsity level. So you got a chance to get a lot of games, see a lot of things. Because let's face it, some of those games, you're going to see things you may never, ever see again.
Right.
You learn how to think. You learn how to deal with these surprises, let's say. So that's the biggest thing.
I know going into as when I officiated, the interesting is that crazy things happen. So when it happened in a varsity game, you already knew how to act. Or how to react. Coaches will test you with that, and when you have that experience, it helps greatly that you back in the day in 5th and 6th grade football, you saw that play.
Yeah, and sometimes even talking and dealing with the coaches, because one of the things I remember is working a game, call didn't go the coach's way, wasn't very happy. He came up and started to yell at me. He says, "Greg, what do you do for a living?" Told him I manage complaints. He goes, "Are you married?" I said, "Yeah." And I looked at him again. I said, "Pretty much I get yelled at 7 days a week. So however you want to deal with this, we can talk some more." So he just laughed and walked away.
Yeah, and then he left you alone.
Yeah.
Talk a little about your association with Officially Human and with Brenda Hilton.
So I've had a chance to at least meet her through some friends of mine who work in the Big Ten. So Chris Loving's one of the friends of mine that let me get a chance to meet them and to do some things. We got a chance to do some stuff in Westfield, which was really great. To get a chance to talk to young people who are thinking about officiating and let them know just how much they can enjoy it, how much fun it is. It's a chance to stay with a game for, man, you can stay with the game into your 60s. And that's just a great opportunity to always be part of a game that you just can't play when you're past 18 in some cases.
Young officials out there, and they want to be associated. I know you're from Indiana. Do you encourage them to contact the Indiana High School Athletic Association to get involved? Because I know there's a lot of mentors, especially for Friday night football. We have football crews. Some games played on Thursday night because we didn't have enough crews. You can go today and get on the field on a Friday night with the mentor program.
Yes, and we've gone ahead in the past with like clinics during the spring, summertime, because the teams can practice,
right?
And there's opportunities to get people there that can mentor you and walk you through it. People can help you. There's classes that can help you through the local association. So the IOA, the Indiana Officials Association, will work with you, help you to prepare for the exam so that you can take the rules test, help you with getting game assignments so you can work those games. And when you work those games, you're also working with a veteran mentor. So it gives you a chance to have someone that can let you know, hey, this is the way you need to do it, kind of help you after the game, discuss it. I mean, it's the best opportunity there is.
And if you're an Indiana official, the CYO offices and Don Nestor runs camps and runs those leagues as well. So if you're interested, those are a couple of things to get involved. Greg, I appreciate it. Next time I see your crew, I won't boo at all. I promise.
Yeah, well, I expect to get booed, so that just part of the deal.
We got one more guest before the whole entire clinic starts, and we'll be back right after this.
Sports fans, we cheer on our favorite teams at fields, gyms, arenas, and stadiums. But have you ever wondered what it's like to be a referee? Verbal abuse from fans, parents, and coaches is the #1 reason why many referees are walking away. And they're not being replaced quickly enough by new ones. So put yourself in the official shoes, act with respect, and be officially human.
Calling officials cheaters or corrupt, it's not a game.
Insulting referees, it's not a game.
Threatening officials, it's not a game.
Berating young umpires, learning the ropes, it's not a game.
Violent language in the stands, it's not a game.
Verbal abuse from the sideline. It's not a game.
Screaming at a referee in the parking lot, it's not a game.
Sports fans, we pack stadiums, arenas, and local gyms every day. And every sports fan is uniquely human. Seeing each play with your own eyes, triggering your own emotions. And as humans, we won't agree on every call, but we can act with empathy and consideration. So put yourself in the official shoes. Be more than a fan. Be officially human.
And we welcome you back to the State Fairgrounds, the championship of the Horizon League. You got a favorite yet, Scott?
No.
No. Scott Bradley joins us. It's not baseball, so you would have had a favorite yet with baseball.
No, I don't participate. I just observe.
Okay. Talk a little bit about baseball and the shortage of baseball officials.
It's a system-wide problem right now. I think everything is being done by organizations like Officially Human. I know Ben Brownlee's here from the NCAA as their new associate director of officials. They all see it as a front burner problem, and it's been coming for years, and we were slow to react, and now it's starting to come back to bite us a little bit.
A lot of high schools are affected by that, where they're used to having a 2-man system, now have 1 man, or the umpires will have to work a couple extra games during the week to make up for the shortage. I have actually seen games start at 8 o'clock in the morning so they could get 3 games in with the same officials. What's the take back of that, and what's the solution?
Well, I think it's training at the younger level. It's getting to the baseball player when he's graduating from high school, when he's a college player, to get him to come and officiate in the summertime. Expose them to what it's all about and have them realize that it's a very good advocation that you could probably make more money in the summertime doing this than you can working a regular job.
Yep.
And you get to pick your hours.
And you got Little League out there. Is that the right way to start the officials with Little League, volunteer with Little League baseball, or even getting paid doing Little League baseball? Is that the start of that?
I think it is. I think you have to start at a level that you're comfortable, and the more advanced or the quicker you pick up officiating, the quicker you'll advance through the ranks and go to the higher age level.
And not only is it baseball, but there's also softball shortages as well. Talk a little bit about what Officially Human has done to help with the baseball shortage.
Well, Brenda's done some unbelievable work in a very short amount of time. And when she asked me to be here, it's like, that's a no-brainer for me. Just making people aware that the issue is out there is big. but then having curriculums and having things in place for people to learn faster and onboard faster, to be able to step in and help immediately instead of a year of training prior to going out on a field. As she's sped up the process immensely just through the educational piece.
There's a young person out there that wants to do that. How do they get involved? And can they contact you to get some leeway to get in? What's the best way to do that?
I think if no matter where you are in the state of Indiana, there are different assigners for different sports everywhere you go. So I think that you find out who your local assigner is, who's the person doing that travel ball in your town, who's the person doing the young T-ball and the little league in your town, and get with that person and ask them, because I think there are individual situations in all over the state that you got to start at grassroots, and it's really grassroots when it comes to assigning that.
The crazy thing is, if you love the game, this is the way you can get involved in the game and be part of the game and to help build the game.
I started when I was 13.
So did I. So I understand
I'm
that completely.
the same way. I started, and I umpired with my father. So I tell people all the time, I was making $5 a game. My dad was making $7.50, and I didn't even realize that the base umpire wasn't supposed to get paid more than the plate umpire. I was supposed to be making that $7.50. Pretty smart guy. He worked all the base jobs, and I worked plates all the way from the time I was 13 till I was 18. So
we thank you for your time today. Appreciate it very much.
All right.
Don't forget tonight's championship game, 7 o'clock right here at the State Fairgrounds. It's Milwaukee versus Oakland. Game time's at 7. They got plenty of tickets. Come on down and watch. When we come back, Brenda Hilton will lead us with the seminar right after this.
Sports fans, we cheer on our favorite teams at fields, gyms, arenas, and stadiums. But have you ever wondered what it's like to be a referee? Verbal abuse from fans, parents, and coaches is the #1 reason why many referees are walking away. And they're not being replaced quickly enough by new ones. So put yourself in the official shoes, act with respect, and be officially human.
Calling officials cheaters or corrupt, it's not a game.
Insulting referees, it's not a game.
Threatening officials, it's not a game.
Berating young umpires, learning the ropes, it's not a game.
Violent language in the stands, it's not a game.
Verbal abuse from the sideline. It's not a game.
Screaming at a referee in the parking lot, it's not a game.
Sports fans, we pack stadiums, arenas, and local gyms every day. And every sports fan is uniquely human. Seeing each play with your own eyes, triggering your own emotions. And as humans, we won't agree on every call, but we can act with empathy and consideration. So put yourself in the official shoes. Be more than a fan. Be officially human.
Good evening. Thanks so much for coming out to the Horizon League tournament tonight to join us for this networking event. And really the goal of tonight is to get all of you to walk away hearing from experts in the higher level of officiating and talking to them about asking them questions. I want it to be interactive. The first person up is going to be Bo. And when you ask Bo questions, we want him to talk about the struggles. We all know there's struggles in officiating. We all know that this is a tough climb to get to work, the highest level of Division I. It's tough. And everybody in the room can learn something from Bo tonight. Thank you very much. So anyway, I hope everybody walks away with something good and positive in officiating, and it keeps you all in the craft for many, many years to come. So Bo, if you would come on up and tell your story.
Oh. Really, you can do better than that round of applause. I'd appreciate it. Brenda, thank you for inviting me and to engaging with everybody that's attended today. Obviously, my primary focus in the multiple hats I wear in the officiating space was the role I played as an official. And little did I know it at the time, it is my friend group today is the same friend group I had 30 years ago. And you don't realize that at the time. But you realize the longer you stay in this, regardless of the level you're at, obviously people have Division I goals and dreams, but you want to be the best that you can be at the level you're at. And, you know, officiating by and large, the cream does rise to the top. You have to be patient, which is really two difficult words for officials to hear. We see the officials on TV in the Final Fours and at the NCAA tournament and on Big Monday from a basketball perspective, and we all visualize ourselves in those situations. And from a sustainability perspective, being patient's the right play. Now, you have to have a combination of talent and luck to get there. The key is that officials in any sport need to stay engaged to get to that point. You have to outlast your competition, despite the fact that we're all friends in many cases, we're all coworkers. We are in competition with each other, and some people are discouraged by that element and that aspect of it, but it is reality. You can't navigate this space alone. That is for sure. Nobody in any sport gets to where they want to go without having help along the way. So, from an officiating perspective, I put myself in professional and social situations where it was the same people. And so I was getting to know people uh, broadly and deeply so I could climb the ladder as fast as I could. But I wasn't artificial in nature by doing that. I was myself. I remain myself today, which is great news and bad news in some cases. But I can tell you that in officiating, we're looking for leaders. Anybody, certainly most of you in this crowd, could go out and work this game tonight in a umpire two capacity. And that's a credit to the strong referee in U1 that'll be on this game tonight. You have to be put in a position to succeed. And that's why I always wanted to align myself with people that I deemed to be supervisors, people that understood the art versus the science. I didn't want to work for assigners, people that just put names in boxes and said, go do your work and try not to call me, and I don't really want to have any engagement or interaction with you. I understood the difference in the two type of coordinators very early in my life, and I wanted to align with people that invested in me as a person, but also from a professional perspective, because I realized that they were intertwined. So I was able to catch some breaks early because of the people that I got to know well. They caught breaks of their own to be in a coordinator role, and they gave me opportunities very early in my career where if those people didn't catch those breaks, I may still be spinning my wheels at the small college level and becoming frustrated. And the message was impressed upon me very, very early on: be the best at the level you're at. Part two is hard to hear: set realistic goals and expectations. And that is the one piece of the pie where people swing and miss on the most. They end up putting themselves in a situation where they set these unrealistic goals in terms of how high they can climb in a time frame that's not reasonable. Very rarely do we see a situation where people that are deserved and warranted of an opportunity don't get it at some point. For some people, it takes longer than others. But over the course of your career, you'll be put in situations that are going to be recognized by leadership, that are going to give you an opportunity. And the key at that point is to take advantage of those opportunities. Any questions from anybody in the crowd today engaging about officiating? Yes, sir, Mr. Nesselrode. Good question. My goal was always to find somebody that aligned, somebody I wanted to emulate. I looked to people like Eric Harmon, like J.D. Collins, like Tim Fogarty, these people that I looked up to just to pick their brain for knowledge. I didn't necessarily want to grab onto their capes because they were all Superman in my mind because they were working games that I wanted to work. They got to go to Ball State and, to IUPY and to Indiana. And I was driving by those places to get to some of the smaller colleges. While it was great and I enjoyed doing it and I was developing a peer group, I wanted to make sure I put myself from an investment standpoint, both time and money, two very important resources, in aligning with the people that were ultimately my mentors. I went to their games. They let me in their locker rooms. Now that's more difficult to do today in a Division I setting, but I wanted to ride with them. I wanted to go to lunch with these people. So I had to find that balance of engaging with these people and not annoying these people, and that's a tough line to ride for sure. It fast forward to now, I'm in a situation where people want to engage, and I do the best that I can to give as many people time, but I'm also brutally honest with them about setting realistic expectations, and help them understand that the pyramid gets smaller at the top. And with some of the success that I had, I know I didn't just get there because I was viewed as somebody making a decision that I could handle the job. There was some luck along the way, but it was a tribute to how I did it and aligning yourself with those type of people. Find out who those people are that you want to emulate and find a way to get in their, back pocket and figure out from their perspective what their advice is, what their network is. But it's got to be authentic. People recognize a short-term artificial approach to try and benefit yourself professionally. I think alarm bells go off. So it's if I could sell the formula, I'd be rich, and I am not rich. But what I can tell you is without hard work, you got no chance. But with it, at least you're providing yourself an opportunity. Anybody on this side of the room? Yes, sir.
How do you go about doing it? Like a lot of this, me having my early 50s and stuff like that. I'm just trying to figure out though. I don't have too many years left in a lot of the high schools, but how do we go about getting into the younger like high school kids? Say, hey, it's not as bad as you think it is, and stuff like that. How do we go about trying to portray it to where they can get into it with a lot of schools, doing to where you can get your license now and stuff like that? How do we go about promoting it more?
Are you speaking specifically to someone your age or the high school kids?
To where our age speaks to the kids.
Oh,
and try to
understood.
promote it and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest complicating factors on getting high school kids, and I'll even extend it to college age kids. A lot of them are either all in, yeah, I'd love to do it, or they'll go, no, 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 I'm not interested. And the reason they go down that road is because they see in many cases how coaches treat them, how coaches treat officials on games they participate in. And they're comfortable in being on that side of the fence right now. But when their competition days expire, they fear that they'll be talked to and looked at how their coach talked and looked at them. So it's a difficult conversation to have. It's a battle worth fighting, though, because these people understand the game. The shot clock's running out for these people on the competitive field or on the court. So these people are to be engaged. It's a really difficult conversation to have to get them not only to listen, because it's difficult oftentimes for this generation, to make eye contact and to fully understand what it takes to be an official. But again, I give a lot of talks to high school associations, and my goal when I get in the room is to get them to stay in the room. You need to be here year after year after year and have realistic expectations of what the outcome may be for you. You have to put yourself, somebody like you that has access to these types of people in an area where you live, where it's a densely populated area, knowing that these people have an opportunity to stay on the court, even though they're not playing anymore, to make extra money. It's not a sexy thing to do to make $50, $100, $200 at a time, but it's part of the climb to get to what might be their ultimate goal. Good question. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Mr. Windler. Yes. Make sure the next question comes down from down there so we can.
You mentioned friendship and competition. How did you balance friendship with your people who are still friends with you today as you climb the ladder and various roles that you've had now too, even as a supervisor?
Yeah, I've seen it destroy relationships. But I always thought how I was off the court would bleed to how I handled the major stakeholders, the players, the coaches, and my partners on the court. So I was able to develop tight friendships with a small group of people. And as I evolved, was able to expand that. And when my fellow officials would see me talking to other officials or the players or the coaches, they knew because of the person I was off the court, very loyal, that I wasn't selling them out, that I wasn't climbing the ladder by stepping on them. And I see it. And I've seen officials attempt to do that. I've eliminated officials from my roster who have attempted to do that because, like I said, the pyramid gets smaller at the top. There's a right way to do this. And so the way I managed it was to just be me and realize that my initial loyalties lied with my partners. I was going to leave the court, those players would be left behind. I was going to leave the court, those coaches were going to be left behind. And I'm going to the next spot with my fellow officials, maybe not the next day or the next week, but certainly I planned on being around. And so I developed a pretty significant or put a high placed a high degree of certainty on relationships. And that was never in question with me. So my recommendation to you is to just be you, to be genuine, and do not step on your fellow officials to get to where you want to go. You'll get exposed rather quickly. Somebody down here? I wouldn't do that to you. Yes, sir. Well, hang on. We got to make them walk. Thanks, Bob. You're welcome.
Do you have any nuggets that the guys that came before you gave you on how to navigate from that U2 position and how to lead a crew or to step in opportunities that are in front of you?
Yep, Ruben. Good question. Just like I wrote it. Well done. So there's a certain amount of confidence you have to be a lead official, to be an R if we're talking about basketball, to be a white hat when you're talking about football and so on. That calls into question, is this person confident or is this person arrogant? Does this person over communicate or do they refuse to talk to me? Does this person, suck up to the supervisor or do they just go dormant and you never see them? So like life, it's all about a middle ground, but you need to be closer to the aggressive side than the passive side. And for people not interested in this craft, they might just say, well, your job is to just go out there and call the plays and go home. Though I would agree with that. Judgment's the single most important thing we do. I won't even call communication number 2. I call it 1B. It's so important, not important enough to go above judgment, but the communication aspect of what we do is so important that We call it 1B, and I give speeches all the time called 1B. So I would encourage you, again, it's difficult. It's difficult to teach somebody to be an optimal communicator if it's not in their DNA, but it is something that can be developed. So I would highly encourage you to figure out a way to set yourself apart, and communication with the veteran officials, respecting those veteran officials, not coming in and being Johnny know-it-all, to know when to speak up, to know when to be quiet. One of the gentlemen I worked for many years with in the Mid-American Conference, we'd get in the locker room and he would say, all right, you did half your battle. You showed up. The second half is shut up. And I would say, okay. So I knew when I was in the room with him, I was playing my role. I kept my mouth shut and I went home. And again, that approach that he had didn't last, because the veteran officials at times can be intimidated by the up and coming, more slender, more knowledgeable official. And I have a list of people in my brain that fit that bill, but the vast majority of people are embracing. It's not a question of if this crop is going to replace me, it's when. And I want to play my role and play my part to make sure you're ready. So as time develops, when people say, well, what was Bo's role in your career, that there'll be something immediately that you can point to. So you can't broad brush your approach to veterans, and finding mentors. It's important to have a diverse group of people that you can rely on, because you'll get nuggets from everybody. So is there anybody out here that is not involved in officiating but wants to be? Yeah.
Sports sociologist.
Okay.
About culture and show.
Yes.
Like I said, I'm a sports sociologist. I do research about sports events and culture.
Yes.
I came from Venezuela. That is a place where there's a lot of passion.
Yes.
Especially with baseball.
Yeah.
And it's interested, and I want to do like the research. When I realized about this officially human, I fell in love.
Yeah.
Because it's important to be the restore of the respect of the officials, but
Sure.
also is trying to see how is the culture aspect about you guys in D1, for example, or one other places where there's a mix of cultures.
Yeah.
People from Europe, people from Latin America, people from Asia, with different visions about the same sport. So it's interesting to me how you guys have to get that kind of situations. It depends of the culture. I remember days ago about Barbosa and the fight between that. We can say of our culture, it's about a disrespect about the teammate.
Sure.
and her response about it. If it's wrong and it's bad, if it's wrong or it's good, it's it's not important as you as officials how to handle that kind of situations in the mix of culture, of if you take for granted that kind of situation, or you are here and you have to take all your cosmovision and changes because you are here. You know if what I mean, but
No, I understand. Yeah. No, that makes sense. And, I always tell people, I said it today about Brenda starting Officially Human many years ago. And, one of the things she said is there's really not anybody in this space. And my comment to her was, there's a reason, right? Because it's a bit of a fool's errand. And as much as I love the mission of Officially Human and I love Brenda, it's still true today. But I support it. We support it. That's why we're here today, because there's no mistake about it that people leave the officiating space because of how they're treated. And we know from the D3CA report performed by the Pictor Group that tells us that there's nothing more impressionable on a crowd than a coach. And if you've got access to local news or national news, you know that those instances are on the rise. There's an emotional tie to your team. There's a financial tie now to your team, unfortunately, and it's only going to get worse. And that requires that the tie that binds all of us be tighter than ever, that we have a network in place, that we have a support system in place, which, by the way, is each other. So from a sports psychologist standpoint, you could do this for the rest of your life and not get 10% through your study. The dynamic associated with the education of officials, whether officials are supported, whether they're paid properly, and whether they're treated properly, is something that's very important. There should be 8, 10 organizations that she's competing with. Instead, in my opinion, she stands alone to shine the light on these people that are the biggest offenders. And that light needs to shine on those people. And they do need to go through a bit of a re-education of these are human beings. And when the game's over, they should be allowed to go to their locker room and go to their car and be happy with their unfair wage that they just been paid. Right? That's all, right? It's funny, if with the institutions I deal with, I would prefer that they're treated better. I would prefer that they have water, that they have a secure locker room, that they have access to an alternate entrance and exit, that they have the capability to have a clearly defined game manager. I would rather check that box than get them 5, 10, 20 more bucks per game. Because I'll sleep better knowing when I lay down at 9:30 and they're all leaving their assignments, I'm hoping the stuff didn't hit the fan. And it's all tied to the culture of the sport. And we're not in a good place when it comes to treatment of officials. And quite honestly, I'm surprised that we haven't had more incidents than we've had, but they're coming. There's no doubt. As more eyeballs, more gambling, right, more emotion takes place, we're going to be in the spotlight even more. And then we're going to be looking to the leadership of respective governing bodies, respective leagues, conferences to say, we got to put a stop to this. So your mission's a good one. Not as good as hers, but it's a good one. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate the time.
All right. Thank you, Bo. Thank you very much. I owe you once again.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. I believe we have the championship crew here for tonight's game. If we can call them in. Thank you very much. I may know these guys. Hi. Good. How are you? Welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Hello. How are you? Good. How are you doing? All right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Real quick. I'm going to have these guys introduce themselves. This is a crew that's going to be working tonight's game. So everybody that's going to attend the game.
In theory.
Right, right. Yeah. And they will not miss any calls. They're 100% in my book every night. So that's great. In theory, yes. So I'm going to have them just kind of go down the line and just talk a little bit about, where you started. And it can be 1 minute, it can be 5 minutes. I don't care. But where you started, how you got here, and really give me one struggle that you had to overcome.
I'm Paul Sells. Sorry. I'm Paul Sells. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I started officiating my senior year of high school, right before I went to college. I was told it would be a great part-time gig for some beer money when I got to school, and they were right. That's how I started, and certainly never thought I'd be standing here with these guys at all. But it's been a great run. The biggest challenge I think in officiating, in my opinion, is managing the plateaus. Officiating, the progression of officiating, whether you start, whether you're at this level, wherever, is not a linear progression. It goes in fits and starts. And so there's a lot of folks who start And it starts out really good, and then they get to a point where they go, "Boy, my schedule stayed the same for a year or two, or I haven't progressed. I should be working that varsity game instead of only working the JV game, and this guy stinks, and I'm better than him, and I can't believe it." And I quit. I've seen a lot of really good officials who just didn't handle those plateaus very well. Instead of looking at it going, "Hey, how do I get better? What's he doing that I'm not?" They just said, "You know what, I'm done with it." But how you manage those plateaus have always been the challenge, I think. And I think if you can do that, you'll be okay and you'll make it. I think that's the biggest challenge that I remember.
Hi, everybody. Tim Comer. I'm from Shenandoah, Virginia, in the Shenandoah Valley. I've been at it for about 30 years, and Paul pretty much hit on the challenges. You could talk to 20 different referees, and they could get up here, and it'd be 20 different stories. Everybody has their own path. The thing that you really need to do, and that I would do. I started out in a Division III league, the ODAC, and you'd have these long journeys. I mean, I know you guys are on the road, and when you're on the road and you're coming home, I mean, sometimes you're driving one way 3-4 hours. That's a good time to self-critique. But you have to be honest with yourself. It's back when we started, the video and all of that was not there. It was basically you had to just in your mind replay and go over plays and situations that you had. And it didn't come till later on that we started just getting clips. Now with DV Sport and different synergy, you can review the whole game. But I would say don't worry about what other guys are doing. I don't worry about what his schedule is. Just focus on what you can do, what your abilities are, and just try to progress each year. Camps are obviously a good way to get in front of supervisors if you're trying to advance to collegiate level, or if you're in the collegiate level trying to go from D3 to D2, D2 to D1. Camps are the way to go. There's a lot of good clinicians out there, and just try to feed off of what they give you as much as you can. And again, it'll probably be a common theme. I got started for beer money as well in college, so I think they were paying $3 for a game in intramurals. We were getting $3 a game, and at that time it was $1.69 a 6-pack of Milwaukee's Best. So I was getting a 12-pack of games what I was looking at. So hand it off to Earl.
How's everybody doing today? Good. I'm Earl Walton. I'm from Maryland, right outside of Washington, D.C. And like Tim, I've been around about 30 years. I got started, I played a little bit, and after those days was over, I got involved in refereeing. Never thinking I was going to be in the position that I am now, basically paying my mortgage refereeing. I think I agree with both of these guys. The main thing to manage, the most difficult thing is be able to manage the disappointments. You're going to have goals every year, but every year you're going to be disappointed unless you go to the Final Four, whatever your ultimate goal is. But if you can manage that, say I want to do 5 more varsity games, 5 more JV games, whatever that case may be, don't worry about what happens in the playoffs, that next round of the playoffs. That will come if you keep at it. So good luck to you all. And here you go.
Save the old guy for last. My name's Andy O'Brien from Philadelphia, and I've been refereeing for about 15 years. So these guys talked a little bit about video and how it became a thing about halfway through their career. Well, video was at my fingertips from the start of my career. So I think that I lend itself to my quick progression in this business is video. And I've really taken the time to work with mentors as well as be a mentor to other people that are like-minded, that really love our craft, and to really study the game. You can really accelerate yourself if you self-evaluate every single game. I'm a firm believer that I'm living proof of that. If you really put in the work, and do what others may not be doing could really help you in your career to advance, to self-evaluate yourself and to improve, not to promote yourself, but to improve yourself. It goes a long way. And then the last thing is to just really love what you do. If you really love what you do, that shows when you take the field or you take the court. People gravitate to those things. Like we were just laughing in the car with Paul. Is every coach, we're talking about coaches and stuff, and there's some coaches that like don't like me or Tim or Earl, but like every coach loves Paul. It's because there's a positivity and an aura. And Paul's not my assigner, so I get no extra games for this. But but it really is. I think it is. There's a positivity and an aura about like when he takes the floor, like no one says anything to him because there's just an aura about him. And Bo was the same way. And if you just permeate that feeling and that perception about you, people are going to gravitate to you and they're going to trust you when we have to make the tough call on the court. So best of luck to everybody and thanks for having us.
All right. We should probably tell these guys good luck tonight and they won't miss any calls. So thank you guys for coming over, taking the time to do it. Thanks. How many people in the room are multi-sport officials? We got one. What's your other one?
Oh, thank you.
Good luck. Okay. So one of the things that I like to do with this program is bring different sports in, coordinators, so people know, officials, sorry. So people know that there are other sports out there to officiate other than just basketball. I grew up in basketball. I know basketball like the back of my hand. I moved into football a couple years ago. Still don't know very much about football. I'm still very confused at the whole thing. So I bring in the experts to talk about football. And Greg very graciously agreed to come and talk to the group. And he's going to talk about his career and how he got involved in football and why he loves football. Well, I think one of the differences I see in football and basketball, you really do love one or the other. There's not a lot of crossover. Cool thing about football is you're on a crew. You're on that crew the whole year, and Greg can talk about that. In basketball, you have to be a different kind of person because you are working with a different crew every night. And just like Bo said, you have to have those relationships with your, the crew you're walking in. You may not know the person, may not work with them very much, but on football, you know your crew. And so without further ado, Greg, thank you so much for coming in and being with us, and you take it from here.
All right. So I never worked basketball, so I don't know much about the whole basketball thing. I did work a few years of baseball, and I've done a little soccer. So I've done those. I started about 24 years ago with high school football. And those guys talked about beer money. For me, it was to hang out with my friends because I had a couple of really good friends who were football officials. They said, you should come do this with us. And so they got me started. We took the tests, they helped me to study the rules to get started with it. So I started with them. My whole goal was I just want to work a high school Friday night, man. That's going to be so much fun. I want to get to that point. So I started off with some really good people. We all talk about, I went to camps, I went to clinics. We had those that we went to. I moved to Indiana. I got a chance to meet some really good people when I moved here, and they kind of helped me move into the small college ranks and into Division I ranks. And I've been in the NFL for 15 years. So that's kind of got me started. I love it. I enjoy doing it. Like we said, the camaraderie of working with the crew is great. I work with the same people, same 7, 8, 9 people each week. So that's been a kick for me and enjoyment for me. For my family, my kids only know me officiating football. So my son's 20. So that's all he's known is dad's gone on Saturday. Dad's not here on Sunday. So my kids are kind of used to it. They didn't really enjoy it, I think, until they got into high school. And the principal and the teachers thought it was a neat thing that I officiated football. Until then, I think for them, it wasn't such a big deal. More of a problem for them to kind of deal with dad being gone.
We talk about, they talked about video. I do all my video. I would do my video because when I started in Division I football, we didn't get our scores back where they evaluated the game. It was like Thursday. So I got lots of time to go and review the game and be prepared for that Thursday. So I didn't have to take time away from I just got up earlier in the morning. So I got up early. I put the film in. I'd watch maybe a quarter and a half, or a whole half of a game each morning, get it all done during the week. Now I do my game review on my plane ride home. So I try to get everything done before I even come through the house. So I've got that. And then most of the other stuff that I do that I have to do to be prepared. My kids have after school activities. So, hey, I'm done with my job at 4:30. I got 4:30 till 6 or 7. I can't tell you how many times I've spent at Starbucks while my son was doing soccer. He had a 2-hour soccer practice. I had a 90-minute or 2-hour session with myself to go work, whether it was film, study some rules, do anything I need to prepare, talk to friends of mine, because you always want to go ahead and have your own people that can mentor you and you can kind of work through to kind of talk about your common struggles. So we went through that. So that's kind of me, I think, in a nutshell. So I don't know if there's anything I can add or any questions you might have.
Referee, before you officiate an NFL game, do you study the teams prior to the game that you're going to officiate?
So when they say study, it's not so much, I think what people think is that we study like, oh, this person does that. We more study like their formations to kind of have a feel that when I get on the field, they run a lot of 2-by-2 receiver sets. So make sure I know, okay, this is going to be my key. So I need to be prepared for that. So we do it more so to know the formations that they set up in so that we've got going in kind of a feel for these are things I need to be prepared for so that my eyes are in the right spot. As far as players, people ask me players is like, I can tell them numbers. I can't tell them anything about a player because I don't know. But I do know that on this play, I've got the tight end, and so I'm prepared for that. So I would say it's more so for the formations so that we kind of know. So if you know that the person who does their kickoffs he's always going to put it between the 5 and the 10, I'm prepared for that. If you know they typically is going to be touchbacks, you're prepared for that. So you kind of just want to get yourself in a position so your eyes are in the right spot so that you don't miss something.
We're done.
Thank you, Craig, for doing that for us. So I'm assuming now there's people gonna sign up to be football, right? Right? We got that. All right. So the next person I'm gonna bring up built a relationship with Ben at the NCAA over the last couple of years. Our program, Elevate Respect, is on the NCAA platform, and Ben can talk about that a little bit. Ben is in charge of, and I might botch this a little bit, Ben, so correct me. He's in charge when emails come through of inquiries about becoming an official, they go to Ben. So send all your friends his email address so we can get a bunch more officials signed up. But Ben's been a great partner for Officially Human and the stuff that we're trying to do. So without further ado, we're going to bring Ben up and you're going to talk about your career and what the NCAA is doing with RefQuest and with us.
Absolutely. Ben Brownlee. I've been at the NCAA for 8.5 years, almost 9. And I recently took into this position of Associate Director for Officiating. Just a quick clarification. It's not an email to me. It's an automated email. They fill out a form on our website, Say Yes to Officiating. We have seen a real influx on that site. We've seen about 800 officials come through saying that they have an interest in becoming a collegiate official. Some have a little bit of experience, some have high school experience, some have no experience. We have a really good partnership with the National High School Federation. It's really nice. We share a hallway with them, so I can very easily connect with Dana Pappas, who's the director of officiating with the High School Federation. And she really kind of communicates out to the state high school associations, hey, this person in Indiana is interested in becoming a high school basketball official or football official. So we have a really good partnership there. Our partnership with Officially Human and the Elevating Respect campaign, it's something that we're really utilizing it kind of on a preseason piece of, hey, we want teams to sit down, watch this, and realize that there are multiple roles in a game. There's the role of the official, there's the role of the coach, role of the player, there are administrators involved. When things go on during this contest, there are different roles, and you all need to recognize that each has an important component here. And one thing that we cannot forget is that you have to have an official to have a game. You can't. No one can throw the ball if no one's there to throw the ball up. You can't have a tip off. So we're really excited about the partnership. We've kind of put a collegiate spin on the Elevating Respect campaign. We're getting really good feedback from our membership. It is currently kind of living behind a membership wall. So in order to watch the curriculum, you do have to be at a member institution or at a conference office. But we're really proud of that partnership. We have a great partnership with RefQuest. They are what is known as our NCAA service provider, our officiating services provider. That is where all of our information lives. If you so one kind of misconception is that the NCAA oversees officiating during the regular season. We have a program, we have a national coordinator in many sports, and we do put out education, but oversight of regular season officiating is managed at the conference level. And so one thing that we really are striving for is for conferences to buy into our program. And on 15 sports across our 90 championships, we have a central hub on RefQuest where we can communicate with all of our registered officials any rules changes, rules interpretations. We can do videos. We can really kind of, as something happens and we have to provide more clarification, we can send that directly to every registered official to say, hey, this is something that we're seeing as a trend in baseball, as a trend in basketball. Here's a clip, and this is how it should be called. And so we're really excited about the partnership with RefQuest. It is growing. We have 23,000 registered officials across 15 sports. And so, we're really excited about this partnership with them. We have one other initiative that is really starting to take hold, and it's a partnership with a company called RefReps. And what that's doing is getting into the high school classroom as well as the collegiate classroom to just teach you how to officiate. They have a core curriculum. All the institution has to provide is a teacher, someone to proctor the class. And so it is allowing institutions not only at the high school level but at the collegiate level to get a course credit towards graduation that's teaching you how to officiate certain elements of that. And it's really starting to take hold. I think we have 19 institutions that have engaged in our seat licensing program to ensure that reps is available on their campus. Just from my quick LinkedIn study of their page, I think they have like 25 roughly 25 state associations that they've partnered with. So they're doing really good work in the recruitment side of things. So those are really the primary focuses that I have in my role at the NCAA. It's to recruit, retain, educate, train, and then I think it was referenced a little bit across the couple of presenters is mentoring. One of the things that we're really trying to work on trying to set up a process of really trying to engage in a mentoring program and kind of structure a mentoring program. So I'm happy to answer any questions, preferably not about name, image, and likeness. I am not an authority in that. So I'm happy to talk about anything else. So. I love it when the blue disc doesn't get questions.
Nobody has a question?
Thank you.
I want to tell a quick story. When Bo has been a great mentor of mine over the years, and he was in Chicago in my office at the Big Ten, and I said, I'm going to start this company. And he's like, okay, good luck. And he has been an incredible mentor over through this whole thing. And I will never forget, he was sitting across my desk and he goes, you don't have a officiating problem, you have a retention problem. And I'm like, okay, well, let's just fix it. You know, let's just fix it. We need to humanize officials. And he's like, uh-huh, good luck. So Bo he has really helped me along the way to kind of stay on track, because anybody that knows me, I go wide and then I got to bring back in. I go wide and bring back in. So I did want to say that before you stepped out. So thank you, Bo. Great. Great. I got a t-shirt. And our next presenter, I don't know, anybody in here ever heard of the Mid-Continent Conference? Okay, that's where I started. Yeah, that's where I started in 2000. Didn't know anything about conference offices, didn't know anything about officiating other than you are all bad. So, started there, and our next guest, Scott Taylor, was a baseball umpire in that league, and we built a friendship. And then I went over to the Big Ten and kind of lost touch with them. And I don't know, 2 years ago, oh no, when I started Officially Human, you saw that and decided to come back. So kind of rekindled that friendship, and he's been a really good mentor of mine over the years on this topic. And like I said earlier, I try to get different sports in here so people know that there are other sports. And I want Scott to come up and talk a little bit about his career. He is retired now. He was the NCAA Division II coordinator for a long time, but he's going to come up and talk to you a little bit. Are you good, sir?
An official getting applause, that's weird for me. So Brenda, thank you. Thank you for your organization. Thank you for your program. You all need to give her a big round of applause for putting this on today. You do. Because nobody's cared until now. And the problem has continually gotten worse year to year to year. So I'm the baseball guy. I never worked basketball. I never worked football. I was a baseball guy. Okay. So there aren't many of you doing baseball in this room. I'm guessing most of you are basketball officials. And the reason that you are basketball officials is because it's a $3,000 to $4,000 paycheck if you get to the big stuff, right? Where in baseball, it's $3,000 to $4,000 for a weekend for 3 games. So I know what I'm up against with baseball. Okay. Well aware of it. So also, this is the first time I've gotten to do a speaking engagement on officiating while not a representative of the NCAA. I know they used to watch my social media like hawks. They wanted to know, oh, trust me, I know.
He's not speaking to Ben.
And I am also telling you that if you are on LinkedIn and you put yourself down as an NCAA official, you better not post anything negative about officiating. Because if you do, it will get seen and it will screw your career. Okay? I'm just flat out. I am on social media a lot. I am very opinionated a lot. I'm here to talk to you guys not about a sport. I'm talking about what do you do to survive what we do? Okay? I'm going to give you the lowdown on everything. I heard you say the word culture, and you're studying baseball mostly. You and I need to meet. Okay? If you get into a locker room with somebody who's a veteran and he uses the word culture, latch on to him as a mentor. Because the majority of the guys don't even know what culture is if it smacks them in the face. Okay? We don't. Or we know negative culture. The guy who's the veteran, who is your crew chief or who is your you won in a locker room. I'm not going to give you a percentage, but I will tell you that the majority of them will put their thumb on your head because they're afraid you're coming for their job. And they want to hold on to that big check for as long as they possibly can. So respect them. The keep your mouth shut thing that Bo said, that's a real thing. Okay? If you are the rookie on a crew, shut up. Bo's right. Because what you will do is you will learn as you listen to how a pregame is run, you'll learn what not to do from some people. Some of the biggest education that you will get in a locker room will come from the things that you should not do when you're with your crew. Trust me, I know. I've been in those locker rooms. I came from pro ball. So I want to go back to the story. Here's my background, which will tell you why I say and do the things that I say and do. I started at age 13. I played through Little League Baseball at 12. And I knew at that point in time I was not going to be a baseball player. But my father, I grew up in a town in Oklahoma, a little small town, about 8,000 people. And my dad was the townie umpire. You got those things in youth where youth guy is the town referee, the town official? That was my father as I was growing up. So at age 13, I started umpiring baseball with my father. I worked with my father from the age of 13 to the age of 18. 5 straight years I worked with my dad. I did not know that the plate umpire was supposed to make more money than the base umpire. Because my dad was making $750 a game and I was making $5, and he didn't work a plate job for 5 years because I did all the plate work. But I think he knew what he was doing when he did that. Okay. My first Division I baseball game was at 18. I was a freshman in a junior college. Referee or umpire every game like you don't know who's watching. I umpired a game in Stillwater, Oklahoma at Oklahoma State University when I was a freshman at Northern Oklahoma College in Tonkawa, Oklahoma, because the head coach's wife at Oklahoma State, Gary Ward, I umpired their child in an American Legion game that summer. And the word had gotten back that I was an up and coming guy. And Gary Ward called me at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when an umpire bailed. And at 6 o'clock, I was in Stillwater working a baseball game at 18. I don't know how fast I drove, but I don't remember much of the drive, to be honest. But you have to work every single game. And by the way, that'll never happen again, okay? Y'all know that, right? At 18, you are not getting a Division I assignment. But it was kind of the Wild West back then. We didn't have assigners and conference coordinators and all those things back when I'm 64 now. So I'm the old guy of the group, okay? So first thing out of the back bunch, I learned work every game like somebody important's watching you, even if they're not. Because if you get in the right habit and continually do the right habits, sometime it's going to come up and bite you and you're going to get rewarded for it, or you're going to get punished for it if you're not doing the right things. You have to self-police yourself on that. If you take nothing else from what I'm telling you, take that with you when you leave this room, because it is the most important thing. Okay? When we talk about culture, if you get a guy that's talking culture, trust me, there are guys that I have chosen. So I went through my career. I started umpiring Division I baseball. I went to pro ball. I worked up to Double A in the minor leagues. I came back. I took 3 years off. I didn't want to taint college baseball with my attitude from professional baseball. That's real. There's a lot of going on in pro baseball to this day. I know it because I was it. So I didn't want to come to college baseball and bring the attitude that I had if somebody decided he wanted to turn around or draw a line on me, that I would kick the catcher about yay far outside off the plate, and I would ring up a pitch that was this far off the plate just to prove a point. Can't do that anymore. It'll crush your career. Back when I was doing it, it was common knowledge that it was going to happen to you if you popped off to an official. Can't do it anymore. You are sunk if you do that now. So I retired after June of our Division II College World Series. It was my 50th year in the game. It was a good time to leave. It was a good time for me to walk out. The timing, everything just worked out perfectly. But for the last 7 years, I had the privilege of being the national coordinator for Division II baseball. Now, you're looking for the best guys that you can get on the field at that level. All the good guys are working D1, right? But most of the D2 guys, you're in a situation where you're either a younger guy who is climbing the ladder and trying to get to the next level, or you're a guy who's worked at the high levels and your skills have deteriorated and you've come back and you never really got a D1 postseason assignment, so you're going to try to get one in D2 before you go. I appreciate both roads, but I was always looking for the young one. I will tell you, honest to goodness, I don't know what Ben knows or doesn't know yet, because he came from a rules perspective and now he's managing officials, which that position's been needed for 20 years. And thank God we got the right guy in that job now. So here's what I'll tell you. If you are a veteran official and you are not giving back knowledge and teaching the young people all the things that you went through, you are doing all of us a huge disservice. Huge disservice. Because there's going to be a day when you're not going to be out there anymore, and there's going to be some snot-nosed rookie out there who's going to take grief. Are you going to protect him, or are you going to let him sink or swim by himself? It is one of my biggest pet peeves. The best officials, hear me when I say this, because everybody's talked about patience. The best official is not always chosen for postseason. You all have always suspected it in the past. I'm here to verify it. And I'm going to tell you why. I look for something else. I look for it. I look for, what does this official bring to the table? And if I've got two officials of equal capability, you know what my criteria was? Would I invite that official to come have dinner with my wife and I? And if you're a jackwagon and I didn't want you with my wife and I at dinner, you probably weren't the official that's getting selected for the assignment. There's a lot of really good officials out there. A lot of really good fundamental ball strike, safe out, whistle for a foul, whistle for a violation, throw a flag. There's a lot of them out there. Okay? But there's not a lot of good humans sometimes that we have to work with. Latch on to that person. Here's what you guys, if you don't understand it, I'm going to explain it to you, because I've been sitting over here listening to everybody else talk. Bo Borowski, better person than he was an official. And he was a pretty damn good official. How many Final Fours did Bo work? Count them, because he had plenty. But Bo, better person than he was an official. Greg Bradley, 15 years in the NFL. Okay? Do you know how lucky you guys are to get in front of those two guys? See, I'm the Sesame Street guy. You know that song, one of these things is not like the other? That's me. Now, I did get to work at Division II College World Series, a couple of them, back to back, was crew chief. Here's what I'll tell you about that. I became a better leader, and I became a better business person because of officiating. It's truth. I could have never stepped into the roles that I've stepped into in my personal life in work if I had not led umpires the last 7 years. Because when you lead officials, you hear and get everything. Ben shared a story outside. He got a phone call from a mother of a gymnast from a school that will remain unnamed. Yes, I learned a lot in my 7 years, and that's one of the things I learned. Who wanted to know why there was no accountability for gymnastic officials in a certain conference that is a Power 5 high-level conference, but I'll stop there. They wanted to know why there was no accountability for officials. Do you know that Ben does not manage those conferences, and all of the decisions about those officials are made at the conference level? He said it was, and he's so right, is that everybody thinks the common knowledge person, a sports fan who watches, or a mommy and daddy who are invested, that spent, like a baseball guy who spent $15,000 a year to put their kid in travel ball since he was age 9. That if they'd have just saved that money from age 9 to 18, they could have paid for the entire damn education, right? They didn't need to do that for a college scholarship. They could have paid for wherever school you wanted to go to. They all think that the NCAA as an institution manages everything that has to do with college sports, which is silly. They manage their championships. The people who are good people get to go work those championships. And the other thing that was brought out, I'm bringing up all these points that I heard from other people, right? Bo made a great comment standing over here about managing expectations. You are all going to go to camps in your life. You're going for camp for what? What would you go to a camp for? Okay, that's the standard answer that most officials give me, but it's 90% false. You're trying to get hired. That's your number one goal. I want to get in front of a coordinator who has the ability to hire me so that I can better my schedule. It happens in baseball all the time. There is nobody who can look at you work a baseball youth game for 2 innings behind the plate and tell you that you're going to be a college baseball umpire. It's impossible to do. Anybody tells you that they can are lying. So make sure that you're putting your eggs in the basket of the right person. Don't look for the Power 5. Look for the now. Once you get in the door, trust me when I tell you, your ability will make you better and a better candidate to be an official. The number one thing in leadership. What do you think if you're an employee and you've got a CEO and he runs the company you work for? What do you think the number one trait that employees look for out of their CEOs? Hard work, dedication, communication, accountability, productivity. Number one thing, confidence. And it's 80% voted on. Confidence. They want confidence from their leader. Take that little piece of information with you the next time you walk out on the court. You start getting judged the minute you walk in the door, not the minute you throw the ball in the air. How you walk from the door to the scorer's table, you're getting judged. They're judging you on how confident you look as you walk on the court. And if you have no confidence, if you're the guy who stops by the bench and shakes hands and is all buddy-buddy with one of the coaches you might know, guess what? It don't matter how you officiate that night. You've already painted a negative picture of yourself. by doing that. You're there to do a job. Go do your job, be professional, and show confidence. And if you'll do those things, you will rise in the ranks, because you're probably a guy who is a one percenter in what I call a one percenter. You will do the things that the 99% of the rest of the people will not do. There's a lot of 99 percenters out there. Go be a one percenter and watch your career grow. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, so we're going to wrap up here. Before everybody goes, we need to do a huge shout out to IndianaSRN because they live streamed this for us today. It'll be available on their website. I'll send it out to everybody that registered. So thank you to Ken. Ken. I don't know where Ken came from.
Thanks, Steve.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't
Thanks,
know.
Jim.
Yeah. So thank you. Let's give them. Yeah, right. Give these guys a round of applause. So please enjoy some popcorn and refreshments before we go over to the game. And I do have a gift bag for each one of you. And if you'd like some really cool, this is a shameless plug, okay? Like some really cool gear, please scan the QR code and find something cool. But for all of you, good luck in your careers. Stay in touch and keep networking and keep finding that right mentor. And thank you, Ben. Thank you, Greg. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Let me tell the story. So Greg got a frantic text message last night at 11 o'clock. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, can you come over to the fairgrounds and fill in for me? One of our officials got hurt and couldn't join us. So, Greg, huge shout out to you. Thank you very much. So, all right, that wraps it up. I'll be around the corner to give you your gift, and thank you very much.